This is lesson 8.1, scatter plots and lines of best fit. Our goal for this lesson is to take a look at relationships between quantities by looking at scatter plots, and then we'll determine the degree to which the relationship exists. So a scatter plot is basically a graph that's going to show a relationship between a set of data with two variables. And those variables are going to be graphed as ordered pairs on the coordinate plane. So when you look at a correlation, that's the degree to which two variables are related or associated. So in looking at the different types here, we have three. We have a positive correlation, we have a negative correlation, and then we have no correlation. So basically here are three different examples of scatter plots, and you can see here that there are multiple dots on each graph. And so those dots, when grouped in a certain way, can create a patternized visual. And so when you take a look at these dots, you'll notice that the dots are sprinkling in an upward fashion. And when they do that, you consider them to be positive, because as x increases, the y values also increase, and that's their relationship. So the bigger x gets, the bigger y gets. In the next one, we have a negative correlation, which would be the opposite, in which here you will see the dot sprinkling downward. And so to talk about that relationship, we would say that, well, as the x value increases in an ordered pair, those y values now start to decrease. And then there's going to be graphs that literally the scatter plots are kind of all over, and it's very difficult to tell if the dots are sprinkling up or down, in which case, when you can't see a relationship, you would say that there is no correlation. In this slide, it also even talks about how we can take a look at either positive or negative correlations, and we can look at how they fit the line. So in which case we have lines of best fit that kind of trace the dots and how they sprinkle up or down. And so based upon how the dots kind of center around the line, we can see that some dots, even though they follow the line or the line follows the dot pattern, the dots are a little bit farther away from our red line of fit, where here they are much tighter to the line of fit. And so then we could say that even though this is a positive correlation, it's a weaker positive correlation. Just like when the dots are more organized and closer together, we can then say that it is a strong positive correlation. And that works the same way for both negative correlations too, okay? So basically when the dots are a little bit wider and farther apart, they're more weaker in relationship as opposed to when they're really tight and packed together, in which case they are strong. So some of the questions that you'll be asked in tonight's homework and over your assessments will be to determine in a graph if the scatter plot shows a positive, a negative, or no correlation. And then to also describe its meaning. So we're going to have to pay attention to things like the title of the graph, and then your independent variable label and your dependent variable label to help describe the meaning. So in the first example, we'll see the dots kind of, even though they start to sprinkle upward at first, for the majority, they're sprinkling downward. So we're going to say that's a negative correlation, okay? And then to describe what's happening here, we're talking about the average weekly work hours in the United States. So what's the average working time that a person would work during a week? We can see we're talking about the years since 1995. So 0 would represent the year 1995. And then number 1 would represent actually 1996. Year 2 would be 97, etc., 98, 99, 2000. And then here we've got our hours, so 33 hours roughly a week. Up here, 34.4 hours a week, 34.6 hours a week. So what we can say then is, as the years increase since 1995, the weekly hours worked would actually be decreasing, and that's how you would explain it. In the next example, we are talking about the average hourly earning, so how much money we're making per hour. And again, I'm looking at my x-axis, or my independent variable label, years since 2003 this time. Therefore, this 0 would be 2003, 1 would be 2004, 2 would be 2005, etc. And then our hourly earnings. So here we can see a very positively tight packed group. So this is a strong correlation, strong positive. And basically, to describe it, we would say, as the years since 2000 increase, our hourly earnings also increase. So now that you have some background knowledge and some practice based upon correlations, see if you can match these three correlations to a scatter plot below. And so we're taking a look at age and height, age and eye color, and age and time needed to run a certain distance. And each one of these three is going to match up with a particular scatter plot here below. So, in looking at this, we need to understand the dependent variable and the independent variable. So in looking at age versus height, your age will impact your height, or your height, thinking about it in a different way, your height should depend upon your age. And as you know, as you get older, what happens? You grow. And so normally the relationship is the older you are, the taller you get. So in looking at that, as your age increases, so does your height, which means you're talking about a positive correlation. So this would match up with our middle graph, okay? As our age increases, because that's our x value, as we get older, here's our height axis. And so our height would get. So that's how you do it. And so we can label that. We could say age, and then we could say height. And that would be a positive correlation. In the next example, we have age versus eye color. And with eye color, no matter kind of how old you are, it pretty much stays the same. There really isn't a correlation. So depending upon whether you're talking about multiple people or whether you're just talking about one person would change the graph dramatically here. But typically your eye color, you can't increase or decrease a quality. That only changes. Eye color changes. It doesn't get bluer or less blue, or browner or less brown, per se. So you really can't have that kind of relationship. So then that would be this one, this no correlation, where we talk about comparing our age to our eye color. Finally, the last one would be age and time needed to run a certain distance. So when you think about it again, what's the independent and dependent variable? Again, well, age is your independent variable, and your time needed to run, so that's kind of basically your speed, right, of how you can run. So you would know then that when you're young, very young, as you grow older, what happens is you can get faster and faster and faster because you become stronger. So this would be a good example of number 3, where your age will impact your time needed to run a distance to a certain point. But then the other thing is we know as we continue to age, then what's going to happen to this scatter plot? What would happen would be that scatter plot would start to move back upward again, because as we age into our 60s, 70s, whatever, the slower that we're going to get. Here are a few more practice problems. Go ahead and decide which data will most likely show a positive correlation when graphed on a scatter plot. So in A, the outside temperature and the cost of heating a home. Again, what's independent, what's dependent? Okay? So the cost, your cost of heating a home would depend upon what the temperature is outside, which would be your independent variable. So what would that graph look like? Well, if your temperature is independent, that's going to be on the x-axis. So there's your temp outside, and here would be the money it would take to heat your home. Well, the warmer it gets, the less you're going to need your heater. In fact, there's going to be a point where you turn off your heater completely. So that scatter plot might look like this, which is a negative correlation. In the second example, we have the hours spent studying and your performance on a quiz. Again, which one's independent, which one's dependent? So in here, your performance, how you do, is going to depend upon how much you study. In fact, most of the time when you see time elements like hours, minutes, seconds, that's always going to be your independent variable, and it's always going to be on the x-axis. And when you think about it, it's common sense, right? The more hours you spend studying, the better you should do on a test. And then the final one would be time of day and a person's shoe size. If we're talking one person and the time of day, this is a very unique graph, okay? Because your shoe size and the time of day should probably look like this, which is a perfectly horizontal line, because the size of your shoe or foot is not going to change based upon the time of day. In one day, that is. So, and that would be then a no correlation. So our last slide talks about an activity where we can take a look at comparing the weight of a ball that we use in sports and the diameter that it has measured in inches. And so what we do is we take this information and we organize it into a scatter plot. So the golf ball would be probably our smallest ball, and that's 5.3 inches, and it has a weight of 1.6 ounces. And so we go on all the way up to a basketball, which is 30 inches in diameter and is 21 ounces. And then water polo, we have 27 inches and 15 ounces. So you can kind of see volleyball is a little bit smaller, soccer ball is a little smaller or a little larger than the water polo ball. And so you can kind of see here, just based upon the numbers, that we have for the most part a positive correlation. And so what you do is take that information and then you'd create a scatter plot. So on this slide is kind of what a scatter plot of the data would look like of all those balls. And looking at the scale, I simply chose to work it so I knew that 20 was my largest number, so I chose to go by 2s on the x-axis, and then on the y-axis I chose to go up by 5s. And so then I just approximated. And so after I plotted those ordered pairs, now I can take a look at its relationship. So again, once you see this, you can tell that our dots are moving upward. So as the size of the circumference or the size of the ball gets larger, then the weight of that ball also gets larger. So it's a positive correlation. So we would say positive. And then if we wanted to answer letter E, we say a bowling ball has a weight of 225 ounces and a circumference of 27 inches. Describe the location in the ordered pair. 225 ounces and 27 inches. And looking at that, that's going to be a dot, in fact, way off of this page. I mean, I could go up here to over to 27, but even that dot would be somewhere way up in there and even farther off the page. I mean, that looks even about 100 because I'm doubling the 50 in height. So that dot would be way, way, way off the page. And so how would we describe this point or compare it to the others? Well, it's an incredibly far away from the rest of the points. And so you would consider this an outlier. You may have heard about this in studying statistics. And when you have outliers, you don't really want to use them when you are looking at the rest of the data, you want to kind of look at all of the data that's more closely lumped together to find a better relationship. So most of the time you're going to ignore the outlier when you consider that. So your homework tonight is going to be a worksheet that's located in Schoology, and it's 8-1.